Hello and welcome to the Tachogram platform. If you're looking for some guidance, this video will give you an overview of the platform and all its features. Here you can switch between different driver or vehicle groups if you've created them, which we'll go over later. You can also upload driver or vehicle data files. New notifications will show up under the bell icon. The dashboards provide a quick overview of completed or overdue driver card and vehicle data downloads, upcoming vehicle calibrations, or data expiry dates, as well as the driver risk score dashboard, which showcases data on drivers that have collected the most infringements. Below the dashboards, you can see driver infringements on a timescale of the last 14 days. Below, you can drag and drop files for upload. The driver section allows you to look up information about separate drivers. This overview screen gives you an insight into a driver's work metrics. The main feature of the driver section is the activity graph. Here you can select a period to see a driver's work and rest data and any infringements they've attained. To see data more clearly, you can swap between a week and day view, as well as click and drag to analyze a driver's day hour by hour. The day view also features a detailed activity list if you want a clearer rundown. The week view tracks infringements. Click here to find out what happened when and what rule it contradicts. If you're having trouble understanding how to read the activity graph, check out our blog on the subject by clicking here. Let's move on to the other features in this section, like attestation of activities. In cases where there's no data available on the driver card explaining a given period of time, you can take the opportunity to add this description manually, detailing that the driver was sick, on leave, or performing work other than driving. The Working Time Directive section logs working hours every day during a selected week. The Unknown Periods section logs all the time periods from the activity graph that don't have sufficient information about them. You can change the state of the activity from unknown to work, rest, and others, or add comments to the notes explaining the time missed. Edited Activities compiles all the events from the activity graph that have been edited. To edit an activity, go to the activity graph and click on one of the working, rest, or other activities. Now you can change its state or add a comment. Debrief Events records all the times you've hit Print Driver Debrief by the activity graph with the goal of having printed out materials on a driver's activities and infringements to go over and improve their driving habits. The information on the debrief and the periods you've discussed will be saved in this section. The Vehicles Used section shows you all the vehicles the specific driver used in selected periods, for how long, and how much they've driven. Places covers what countries the driver has been in during certain periods. Events highlights incidents recorded by the driver's card by the tachograph. For example, a time overlap event, as well as where and when they happened. Faults highlights technical errors recorded on the driver's card by the tachograph. For example, a sensor or display not functioning, and where and when the errors occurred. Infringements shows a driver's infringement history. You can choose a specific period and sort by infringement severity level. Tachograph cards logs data like card numbers and expiry dates. The Files section stores files and their information, when the data was downloaded from the driver card and when it was uploaded to the platform. Deactivate is meant for just that. If a driver's profile has to be shut down, it's done here. The final section is just additional profile information on the respective driver. The Vehicles section is quite similar to the Driver section. However, it reflects information from the perspective of vehicles in your fleet. Likewise, one of the more essential sections here is also the activity graph. As before, you can view activity data over a week, a select day, or hours. Harsh braking registers events where the vehicle rapidly loses speed for a few seconds. Overspeeding events logs information on speed limit breaches, when and for how long they occurred, and by how much the speed limit was exceeded and which driver is responsible. Events highlights incidents recorded by the vehicle's tachograph, for example, a time overlap event, as well as where and when they happened. Faults highlights technical errors recorded by the vehicle's tachograph, for example, a sensor or display not functioning, and where and when the errors occurred. Calibration reminds you when, and why your last tachograph calibration happened, as well as when is the upcoming event. Locking information shows what company has logged a vehicle's data with their company card in what period. If a vehicle has missing activities, in this section you can check whether the data has been logged with the correct company card. If not, you'll know the reason for the missing data. Control activity data displays information downloaded by an administrative institution that controls the work of drivers or the company. You can see when certain institutions downloaded specific data. Similarly to the driver section, files contains previously downloaded vehicle card data and logs when they were downloaded, uploaded, and more. Also, you can deactivate vehicles just like drivers. To oversee detailed and compiled information on drivers and vehicles, head straight to the Reports section. These 4 are all work time summary reports. They simply cover different aspects, like the working time of drivers in summary and separately over the course of a month or a week, as well as the report on how much time each driver spent in certain countries, which is very popular among companies. Download status reports log the days since a driver's or vehicle's card data was downloaded, highlighting the ones with complete, upcoming, or belated downloads. Kilometers per vehicle lets you see how many kilometers a specific vehicle covered over a select period. Tachograph calibration report shows you all about the calibration dates of vehicles in your fleet. DDD Archive summarizes all downloads made over a selected period. File download summary reports visually display when files were uploaded, covering the past 28 or 90 days. You can only download singular files by clicking on the arrow. Missing Distance Report lets you check whether any vehicles have covered distances that are unaccounted for, as well as when and where it happened. A detailed activity list is also available if you want to see the activities of a driver in this form. A commonly used report is the driver risk rating. It compiles a driver's infringements over a select period and rates them from minor to serious to very serious, calculating an overall risk score that you can compare to other drivers in the company. You can also enable infringement management to see which infringements have been commented on by the driver or a manager. The icons next to drivers' names designate whether their infringements have been commented on by both driver and manager, only the driver, or no one at all. Below the Overview section, you can see the specific comments. Out of Scope is a report dedicated to the special condition that drivers can log on the tachograph for when the usual working regulations can be applied instead of driving regulations, for example, when a driver is crossing a field. This report specified what was done for how long during the out-of-scope state. Last up, the Return to Base reports. Vehicles and drivers have to return to their base of operation after a specific period. The Return to Base reports let you plan driver and vehicle returns without having to calculate them manually. Some reports have an additional information icon, which usually explains how to read the report or what exactly it's for. If you want reports to be generated automatically, you can set up the respective periods and other data by going to the Configuration section. We've come to the final section of this platform tour, where you can edit your profile information, like the name and email, as well as change the password. For API keys, FTP file upload, or email integration, visit the Integration section. A new entry can be created at the push of a button. If you need to set up some company information, like banking details or email address, you can do it in the Company section. In the Alerts section, you can enable receiving notifications about driver file downloads or calibrations, as well as configure when and under what circumstances you receive them. If you wish to create a new user, edit an existing profile's information, or give or limit certain permissions, visit the Users section. In the Groups section, you can create groups of drivers or vehicles to make it easier to switch between them and oversee information. This is especially useful when multiple groups each have their own manager, as now they're not distracted by information about drivers they don't oversee. The Billing section features information about the current billing period and past invoices. To set up payment information or automatic payments, visit Payments. Moving on to Report Configuration. Here, you can customize some of the reports to your needs by setting up information like which hours of the day count as evening and night, so that night work is registered properly or mark holidays. You can also configure activity graphs. If you don't want to see some infringements or want to edit what time counts as night work, you can do that and more in the Activity Graph Configuration section. And so, we've come to the end of the Tachogram platform tour. Be sure to contact us if you need help understanding a specific part of the platform, or if you believe some information in this video has become outdated, since we're constantly working on bigger and better things. Safe travels from Tachogram.